this episode, I'm going to be working on this awning window. This is a dual sash with screws where the inner and outer are two separate pieces. So nice thing about this is that we can get this installed and not have to worry about fingerprints on this glass right now. So what I'm going to be doing is cleaning the outer rim, and I'm going to be installing a glazing gasket. So this is the end of one of the rolls. We got more over on the side here. This is going to be installed on the outside panel, the inside of the glass around the outer perimeter, and then also once this gets installed back into the frames, it's going to get a bead of silicone caulk around the outside, and then that will be a sealed window once I get the gasket on the inside of the frame as well. So stick around and I'll show you how it's done. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and just clean this window. It has just a lot of watermarks on it right now. Come around the outside, make sure all the old residue is off. Alright, so we're going to be installing this glazing gasket. All three sides of the glass pane, so the inside, outside, and the outer perimeter. It fell off the workbench, so it's a bit of a tangled mess right now here, so let's hope we can get this all straightened out. One thing to note with this glazing gasket is not to stretch it. So you don't want to tug it, because that's going to defeat the purpose of the gasket itself. But yeah, just putting it on at length on the glass, and you'll be in good shape. Alright, so the final piece of glazing gasket is going to go around the outside perimeter. On these, the one part you have to be careful about is to make sure your glass is either 3/16 or 5/32. For my awning windows on this 74 Airstream, I had two different sizes. So only on my curb front side window right next to the front door, I had a 5/32, but this here is a 3/16 glass. So the only difference between these two is the outer perimeter glazing gasket. On this one here, we're going to stick with the 1/4 inch glazing gasket. On the other window, the 5/32 glass, I ended up having to use a 1/8 glazing gasket, as recommended by vintagetrailergaskets.com. So let's go ahead and get this last perimeter glazing gasket done with the 1/16. And now just in case, I take a roller and just press this gasket lightly onto the glass to make sure we have good seal the whole way around. This glazing gasket installed, we can go ahead and get these outer sash frames installed. So I'm keeping the splice of the glazing gasket at the bottom, so that matches up with the bottom latch location and the hinges at the top. So let's get this installed into the two sashes, and we'll get it riveted together. So I did purchase new connecting bars, but there are a number of these connecting bars that I have that are still good. So let's go ahead and use a couple of good ones on this window sash. Alright, so there we have it. I have the glass back in with the glazing gasket. All I have to do is put the silicone sealant on the outside, as well as the new D-seal. That's going to go on the inside here. So that'll help seal it from the elements, and then we'll be able to put this back into the window frame on the shelf. So stick around for that. So next up we have the weather stripping that we're going to be putting on the outer perimeter of these windows. This is going to be your primary seal from the windows when they open and close. It'll should keep all the rain, water out and everything. This gets installed. It does have an adhesive back on it, but it also gets installed with a super adhesive that we put a bead around the outside, and then this will get pressed into it, and you hold it for a few seconds, and then it'll be set in there pretty nice. I do recommend doing this in batches, because then once you get going on one item, you can do a bunch of times. So I have 3 windows that I'm going to be doing the weather stripping on. I'll go ahead, knock these 3 out, and get it done. Heavy in a couple spots, but we'll work with it. Last part up that we have on this window, so I have the inner window seal completed. Last thing we have to do before these are technically ready to go back into the trailer shell is to do the last sealant that goes in this the groove right around the exterior side of the glass. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these prepped. I'm gonna do all 4 windows at the same time, and then we can get these back in the trailer in a day or 2. So we are going to be using this silicone sealant. This is purchased through vintagetrailergaskets.com. This is their CRL aluminum silicone sealant, part 118D, in the aluminum color. So we should hopefully not even see this once it's installed. I went and got this 2-inch wide tape because when you do this part, you don't need a whole lot of sealant in that groove. So what we'll do is put this flat over the the sash and the glass. Then we'll come back with a razor blade just to slice it at the frame. Then we'll push the tape down, and then the sealant that we apply is going to go only in the channel and not on the glass, not on the sash. So. With a nice fresh blade, go ahead, keep it up against the frame all the way around. Push that glass side down. You can see how that gave a nice clean edge for that silicone sealant to sit in. So that'll make it nice and easy for cleanup as well. So let's get these other windows done at the same time. All right, we got our silicone sealant ready to go. I got it cut and primed. Now we're going to go ahead, put a small amount into these grooves, and then once it's set in there, a minute or two, we'll peel off the tape just so it doesn't stick to the tape when we peel it off. Wipe off any excess with it says with a dry rag when you use my finger and rub it well. Go ahead and get the next one done. I'll let that set up for a few minutes and then I'll come back and I'll peel the tape off. Just as far as anyone's wondering, this these 4 windows, I still have that much caulking left to go in this tube at least. So I almost think you could get away with 1 tube for the whole trailers, especially doing it this technique where you're not scraping off too much caulking, but to each their own, I guess. So as far as these windows themselves, these are going to cure for at least 24 hours in the heated garage here. They're going to get installed back into the trailer. Just as a single pane for now, I'm going to continue working on the plexiglass inner pane. But now that these are back in the trailer, I can start getting the flooring back in and we'll get you back up to speed with what I got going on in the trailer itself. So that'll be the conclusion of this window sash disassembly and reassembly. Thanks for stopping by. Be sure to like and subscribe. It helps me keep creating all this content, and hope to have you stick around. Thanks.